showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
I want to welcome everybody out today to episode 232 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Shelley.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back week after week as we continue the journey here in Salt Lake City, where we sit down, chat with locals, professionals, everyday people that are doing really cool things to make the city a cool place to live. Today on the podcast, we sit down with Meg Frampton and Nicholas Price from Three Pines Coffee. Fantastic conversation.
It was actually my first interview.
It was, actually.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to play this one and get this one out there for that reason, just because I feel like we confuse the listeners a little bit by putting up the Connect interview that happened a few weeks ago, but I wanted to get that out there and then put this one out there. So it kind of got jumbled along, but this is Chrissy's first I Am Salt Lake interview. Fantastic conversation. We find out their story. We find out why they wanted to come to Salt Lake.
It was so much fun. We probably could have kept talking for a few hours.
It really was. And I hope to bring them back on the show hopefully sooner than later. We're going to be getting into that here in just a minute, but I want to mention our sponsors, Oleo Skin and Beard. I know you're a big fan of their products.
Huge fan. I use their coffee scrub almost every day.
Is that your favorite product of theirs?
I think it is. I mean, they have a kelp and clay mask, which I also love, and a salt scrub, which I love, but the coffee scrub just gets in your skin.
Is that because you use it every day? Is that why maybe it's your favorite?
You know what? It might be.
It really is.
But it's worth it. And I think they use local ingredients. Like they get their coffee from local coffee shops.
Yeah, so check them out. Oleoskin.com. They got beard oils for dudes like myself with a beard, beard washes, beard balms, tons of products for the ladies like Chrissy was saying.
Oh, yeah. They have like rose water too.
What's the rose water used for?
It's just really good for your skin. Go ask Jen. Go to the farmer's market and ask Jen. She'll tell you. Yeah, the downtown farmer's market. This happens every Saturday at Pioneer Park from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is going to happen until October, so head on down there. Oleo Skin and Beard are there every Saturday. Jen and Derek, great individuals from Salt Lake City. They're there. They're the owners of the company. They're the masterminds, the brains behind the operation. So head on down there. Oleoskin.com is their website. IamSaltLake.com is a promo code that they made to give listeners 25% off of their purchase. So go to their website. Check them out at the farmers markets and anywhere they're going to be. Make sure to check them out. I also want to mention our GoFundMe sponsors. We have a GoFundMe campaign going on right now. This is a great way to help the podcast. If you go to IamSaltLake.com/GoFundMe, you're going to find out more about it. But I want to give some love to our GoFundMe sponsors. They are The Dog and Deuce Show, dogandeuce.com. Great local podcast. Check them out. And thank them for supporting the show. I want to thank Tara Norton, fantastic individual. Thank you so much for your support. Summers Law, Ryan and Emma, and of course, a good friend of the show, Futzer. Thank you so much for your support with the GoFundMe. Like I said, Meg Frampton and Nicholas Price are on this episode. Chrissy, you were great on this episode. I was actually just so much fun.
I was really impressed.
Yeah.
With this whole conversation. I mean, especially like I said, it was your first interview. I mean, but like we've talked about, this isn't your first podcast. So,
True.
So you have done other podcasts, but we still haven't even made it to their coffee shop. I can't believe that.
I feel so bad. We should go tomorrow morning. Let's do it.
I think we said that in the interview.
I think we've said that a lot.
We would go check them out. So anyway, here's that conversation with Meg Frampton and Nicholas Price from Three Pines Coffee. Thanks for listening. I have Meg and Nick with Three Pines Coffee, right? We're going to kind of jump a little bit around here, I think, but that's kind of the joy of podcasting. I'm going to pick both of your brains for a little while, individually and then together. But let's start right off the bat with Three Pines Coffee. I mean, that's your current project. the address. Let's even just start with the address right off the bat, and where you're located, and the hours, and if that works for you too.
Well, I don't know when this is going to air, but 62 East Gallivan Avenue is the current address. But don't come this weekend.
Well, it won't
be at
it won't be up
a
this
music
week.
festival.
It won't be up this weekend.
Cool.
And I want to actually chat about that. So you're doing like mobile spots with the coffee.
Sure are. So that was how we first started. We built a mobile espresso bar with a little one group machine and a little espresso grinder. And that's why we were late getting here, was because the pump went out on it, and I'm getting it ready for the summer season and doing this music festival this weekend. And so anyways, yeah, everything's good to go now. But yeah, that's how we started. That was our initial concept, was just, we'll do mobile stuff like wedding receptions and parties. And turns out that people in Salt Lake, like most of the weddings that happen, maybe don't want coffee here because of religious reasons. How could we have known, But so then we thought, let's just open a shop.
Never thought about that struggle with a coffee shop in Utah. You think about, well, okay, we don't drink coffee, but that must make it harder being a coffee shop in Utah.
Yeah, so we had a lot of offers to do mobile gigs, I guess you could say. And we would, bring 50 pounds of coffee and all this milk and, be ready to crank out some espressos. And then everyone orders hot chocolate. And we're just like, yeah, right.
Yeah, no, the drawer hit open here. Sorry.
So yeah, it was kind of a funny, like, learning experience. So we still have the cart so that we can do mobile events and stuff. Like, we're going to do the music festival this weekend, which I think will be a pretty good crowd.
Is it the one out in Heber?
Yep. Bonanza.
Bonanza.
Yep. Big, gigantic Enjoy Wave and Cold War Kids and 3 pints coffee.
So a mobile is what you were originally. How did it get to the point then to have actual storefront, to have an actual physical location?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Meg probably can chime in on how the initial idea came up.
Yeah, we probably skipped a lot, and I realized that. I just kind of wanted to obviously get right off the front with the coffee shop.
So Meg's mom, it was kind of both of our moms that sort of planted the seed of the idea, and Meg can tell that story about her mom.
Share that story, Meg.
Well, I guess that doesn't really have to do with your question, though, about how we went from a cart to a store.
Let's back up then a little bit. I mean, because and actually with you, so you used to play music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's back up a little bit there, because does that go into your story of your coffee shop at all, or no?
I would say so.
I mean, there's similarities. So Nick and I started out in a band called Meg and Dia. We played together in a band for about 8 or 9 years.
Is that how the two of you kind of met even, or no?
Yeah. So he was a drummer and I played guitar, and we met and we played in a band, and we did a lot of touring around the country and around the world, and had a pretty awesome music
for how many years?
There.
How many years was that?
Well, we were touring probably for like 6.
Yeah.
And
actually, I feel like we were touring that whole time.
We kind of were touring the whole time.
Like pretty much 9 years straight.
Yeah.
We kind of would have breaks here and there, and Meg would like move to Austin, Texas. Like, before the next tour, I'm just going to go live in Austin. And then I'd be like, I want to come to Austin. And so we lived in Austin for off and on for like 2 years. And then where else did you live? You lived in Florida. We were kind of like bouncing around all over the place.
So then when we stopped touring.
Approximately what year did you stop touring?
Last year.
Okay, so 2015.
Maybe 2 years ago. Well, yeah. So we were touring together as a band, and then we started touring with other artists after our band stopped.
Artists like
like Hillary Duff and
oh wow,
Nash,
so pretty big bands. You were
we did like one-off shows with them, so we didn't full on tour with them, and other indie bands like in Los Angeles.
Well, and that's what I'm intrigued by. Here you are touring the world, play music, and then you have a coffee shop now.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of appeal was that we just never had roots. We never were in one place for very long, and we wanted to be in one place. And the really cool thing about having a coffee shop is you start to have a community, which we never had because we were never in a place long enough. So now we know people. We have people that come in 2 or 3 times a day, and we know when they're leaving out of town to go on out to India, and what they're going for and where they work and what they like and what they don't like. And we're actually starting to hang out with them. Like we go rock climbing with them.
So actually meeting friends.
Yeah. So we're making friends through a coffee shop in a stationary place. And we've never had that before.
Yeah. It's funny because when we were touring, we would have friends on the road, but they would be like, for example, we frequented the House of Blues in Cleveland, and we got to know like all the people that worked there, and we would show up in Cleveland at the House of Blues, and they'd just be like, "Oh, you're back." And it was like a reunion randomly that would happen once every 3 months or 6 months or something. And it's nice to like have friends that I can call and say like, "Hey, do you want to go work out? You want to go to the rock climbing gym? You want to go get coffee?" And usually they're available to do so.
Actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the thing that we've struggled with, I think, through the whole time that I've known Nick, which has been, over a decade, is how if it's possible to make money with your passion, or if you should have a job and then do your passion on the side. That's kind of been the thing that we've been struggling with all along. So when music started, when we stopped touring and we needed a way to make an income, we decided to start a coffee shop because it was our other passion, and we thought that we might be able to, I don't know, somehow make it profitable.
But coffee, why coffee? I mean, what?
Because when we were in LA touring and playing with other musicians, Nick got a job at a really fantastic coffee shop in the Arts District called Handsome Coffee, and he was trained by like one of the world barista champions. So he got this.
So he got a really good
coffee
education.
Yeah. Became this incredible barista, learned everything about coffee, and then it was just the next thing.
So turns out while we were on tour for those 10 years, we were spending most of our time in coffee shops.
Well, of course, that's what all musicians do, right? You need coffee and
exactly. That's like the thing you do before the gig. You load in and sound check, and then you go to the nearest coffee shop. And
for the Wi-Fi as well, you got to get in on the Wi-Fi and check your Facebook. And
it's so funny. So like all these years, we were kind of doing market research without really knowing it, and then I get this job in LA in coffee because I just love coffee.
Sure.
And I got this great education, and it was just funny how it just, Heart Roasters in Portland. Been there so many times every time we went through Portland, and so I just kind of like knew the people and the shops and the coffee.
And we use Heart Roasters exclusively. That's why he mentions that.
Okay.
At our coffee shop, we use Heart's beans.
But why Salt Lake City? I mean, you've traveled the world. You've been to a lot of cities. Why Salt Lake?
I think it comes back to.
I mean,
it's home.
Is there? Did you both grow up here? Did you?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in St. George, and Nick grew up in Salt Lake.
Okay, so you have roots here.
Yeah.
You have family here.
Our family's here. Yeah.
Because I mean, if I was going to do a coffee shop, it might not be Salt Lake.
Yeah, but you would think that.
I'm sorry, I know this is Salt Lake. I mean, but
you're totally
you know what
right.
I mean? Like, it's not the coffee mecca. It's not.
Exactly.
But that's kind of why we wanted to do it. Yeah. Because LA has 5,000 coffee shops, and Salt Lake has 6. So you could be one of the few and be really great, or you could be one of the thousands and be kind of average.
I think that's kind of what I love about Salt Lake in general. A lot of people feel like they need to leave to make it big or do something special. But if they would just stay here, we're building the city while we're here. Like, we're creating the city we want to live in, which is awesome that you guys are like bringing that to the table.
Yeah.
There's an awesome community here of coffee drinkers as well, which I figured there would be. So take, for instance, the whole Pride Festival and how it's like really... people are like really passionate about that here because I would assume because of the whole church thing.
Well, there's that counterculture.
It creates a counterculture, and coffee is the same way here because the church is against coffee. You have this whole counterculture of people that are really into coffee. And since there are only 6 shops here, you know, they're going to come to our shop at least once a week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but it's super fun. Like everyone in coffee here is really like gung-ho about Salt Lake Coffee, local coffee shops, and everyone like creating the community and helping each other out. So that's been super fun.
Do you miss touring? Do you miss being on the road though at all?
For sure.
What do you miss about it?
Every day was an adventure. Like you would get in your van or your bus, depending on how successful we were at that moment. And then we would end up in some new city and some new spot of town and meet some new sound guys and other people on tour. And of course, performing is just a dream. Like those 30 minutes to an hour, however long you have on stage, there's nothing quite like that. And it's just, you never know what's going to happen. It's just exciting.
Do you plan on playing music anymore? Either one of you? Do you have that drive to still want to do that at all?
Totally. So I told myself when we started the coffee shop that I was going to take a year off of music. I was kind of in a bad situation when we were living in LA. I was playing with some people that were doing it for all the wrong reasons, that just had all the wrong ideas about music. And it's hard in LA. It's so expensive to live there. You kind of have to take whatever gigs you can get, and you end up playing with people that you don't really like, or you don't really like their music, but you need money to pay rent. And I just got really bummed out and just said, I'm going to focus on coffee. I'm going to take a whole year off of music. And if in that year the coffee shop is doing well, then, you know, maybe we can hire some employees and I can get back into music. And if the coffee shop's not doing well, then we'll shut that down and I'll get back into music. Either way, it's like, you know,
what about playing with like some local bands? I mean, or do you play in any?
No,
local?
so I haven't actually touched my instrument for 6 months now.
Really?
So yeah, I just like had a clean break. This is my new passion. This is my new focus. This is my new, So I'm just like totally driven and focused on this. And Meg knows like how focused I get on things.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like when I go into something, I go all the way,
It's
or
100%.
not at all.
Yeah.
That's what makes you guys successful. You can't really go 50%.
Yeah.
I agree.
What's the coffee shop? So when you decided to bring it to Salt Lake, when you decided to do it, what were some of the hardest parts about that? What were some of the things that made it a challenge for you to start the coffee shop?
For me, it was all about finances. Just how am I going to get this money? I spent all of the money I made from publishing with the band. I pretty much spent all of that, which is most of all the money that I have. And I don't do well with risk, which is kind of funny for me to say because I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. But it was actually a huge learning experience because I had to kind of redefine my relationship with money and security, and like it kind of became this like spiritual learning experience. But yeah, trying to be okay with maybe not having a huge sales day or not being so concerned about recouping all my money really quick and focusing on the other things that I'm learning or getting out of it has been the biggest challenge for me.
I honestly have thought I feel like this has been really easy. I was expecting it to be a lot harder. Finding a place to set up the cart on a regular basis came really easily. And then when it got too cold to be outside running things from the cart, we found a spot inside very easily, and we got all of our permitting. Like the city was really great about starting a small business.
Sure.
Like health permitting and everything was a breeze.
So you were doing it out of a small cart then at first?
Yeah. So when we built the cart,
where was that at?
We were at Liberty Heights Fresh, a little grocery store on 13th South.
I think I remember that now.
So we would set up there 6 days a week. We would just leave our cart there. He would store it for us. And yeah, so we'd be there 6 days a week. I think we were taking Tuesdays off. And he kind of gave us our start because we were having a hard time getting kind of like wedding reception kind of gigs and stuff like that. We did like the 9th and 9th Street Fest, and we did the Thanksgiving Point Farmers Market, which was a total bust. And we really needed somewhere to set up on a more of a semi-permanent basis.
Uh-huh.
And so we met with the owner of Liberty Heights Fresh. His name is Steven. And he was like, yeah, set your cart up every day. And we were like, awesome. that's what we'll do. But then it got cold and we couldn't be out on his patio anymore in the winter. So we decided to pack it in. And that same week, it was just a few days later, this opportunity came up to open the shop on Gallivan Avenue.
And so how long has that been?
It's been just over 4 months.
Over 4 months.
Yep.
And I haven't, unfortunately, I need to get down there. I mean, is it a pretty big space?
It's a tiny space.
Tiny space.
It's like a grab and go little space. We have tables out on a little patio out front.
Sure.
But we literally have one table and 2 seats inside the shop.
But you're right downtown. I mean, you're right in the heart of it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably get a lot of business people coming in there.
And what are you guys' hours in case I want to take this guy?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we really got much into hours and stuff like that.
Yeah. So 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekends. So we're open every day. We don't close on Sunday like all the other businesses tend to do.
So you are open on Sunday?
We're open Sunday, of course, and we will always be open on Sunday.
Okay, I love you. I've actually preached about this. Like, support businesses in Utah that are open on Sunday.
I don't know if, like, what came first. Did, like, businesses decide not to open on Sunday because people don't come out, or do people not come out on Sunday because businesses aren't open?
Yeah.
Regardless, I don't care. I'm going to change it. I'm going to be open on Sunday.
Do you stay pretty busy on Sunday then?
Yeah, Sunday's a great day for us. And we're attached to a restaurant called From Scratch.
Oh, okay. I've been in there.
Yeah, so we're in there. I'm very familiar like with separate, but there's a doorway in between us.
Okay.
So on Sundays, that restaurant is closed. So we take over all of their seating. So if people want to come and bring board games or acoustic guitars or whatever they want to do, there's a whole restaurant that they can sit in.
Okay, so you don't have food then in your coffee shop?
We have pastries, just like little donuts and little bites.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's focused solely on espresso and drip coffee.
So what do you know now? Like all this time into it that you're like, gosh, I wish I would have known that in the beginning. It would have made it all easy.
I think one thing that we've learned just in the past week is we had no idea how the food industry works, or how a brick and mortar shop works, or especially how a coffee shop works. So we talked to some people that have coffee shops, and they all said, like, the first 6 months are going to be super hard. Like, the first 4 to 6 months, it's going to be a nightmare. And then once you hit that 4 month or 6 months mark, then it's going to pick up and people are going to start to know where you are. And we kept hearing that, and I didn't believe them. And they were right. Like, the first 4 months were so hard. And we had some days where you're just like, should we pack it in? What are we doing? And then once we hit the 4 month mark, it kind of just flowered, and it got busy, and people figured it out. And so I think that now, if we were going to get a bigger location, which we're looking on doing, I will not freak out in the first 4 months, because I know eventually, 4 to 6 months, it's going to turn around, which I didn't believe that would happen before we started.
What was it that kept you going during that 4 months? Because when you're doing something like that, 4
year
months
lease.
is a long. Oh, I see. All right, that's fair.
I had no choice.
I kept reminding her, because I helped open a shop in LA that kind of went through the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I just kept telling her, like, we're already busier than that shop in LA was. That for the first 3 months of that shop downtown in Los Angeles, there were days when we would have 3 customers.
Wow.
And we've never had a day that slow at our shop since opening the doors. But
it was still kind of disheartening.
But there were some slow days for sure. Mm-hmm. Especially
you were like, I want to pack. I'm done. I'm done. I'm closing.
Well, I knew that it was going to be like that for the first little while. And I also worked at a shop that I asked the owner as I was working there, like, how did you get the money to open this? And he said the same thing. He said, on the day that he opened, he had spent him and his wife's entire savings, every dime, to open this shop. He didn't even have change for his cash register when he opened his doors. He had to have someone loan him $100 to go make change. And he said, and they had kids and everything. They were living on rice and beans, had no income at all whatsoever. And he, after 4 months, was like, I'm just going to, if it doesn't make money this week, I'm closing it up. And that week, it happened. There's something about 4 months. It takes 4 months for people to realize something's there and to try it out. And somehow that week something clicked, and now
So you're saying that a business should shut down after 5 months if they don't make they don't make it. You know, okay, 5 months, you're done. You didn't make it. That's
here's the small business death rate,
that's
people.
The magic
for
number.
A small coffee shop. Anyways, I feel like a lot of restaurants maybe won't even recoup for like a couple years, but that's because they're into opening a restaurant. You know, $200,000-$500,000.
That's a difficult business to start.
Yeah, and you have so much staff. You have to pay for employees and food and your cost of goods. Yeah, I can't imagine running a restaurant. I mean, we have coffee and milk, and it's overwhelming.
What's the most stressful part about the whole thing?
At the end of the month, when we have to go through all of our numbers and decide, all right, how much did we spend on stuff that was totally unnecessary? And then how much did we make? And luckily, this last time around, that was like a happy day. We were like, oh, cool.
Today on the way over here, I was looking at our numbers and I was like, dude, we've made like $50,000 since January. And then I was like, that's like gross though. You know what I mean? And then I was like, dude, we've spent like $50,000 since January.
Yeah.
Doing awesome.
Hey, breaking even isn't losing.
Yeah,
right. But we also had all the big upfront expenses of like the espresso machine and the coffee grinders and the brewers. And I didn't think that we would actually like start to turn a profit, you know, for 4 to 6 months. Sure. And it seems like that was exactly right. And it might have to do with the weather too, because we don't have seating inside all the time. Like I said, only on the weekends when the restaurant's not open. In the colder months, or if it's rainy, people kind of just don't come.
But you would think that's coffee time, man. That's when you want a nice hot cup of coffee.
A certain amount of rain is great for our business.
Yeah.
But too much rain or too much cold. And I think people know, like, well, if I go there, I'm not going to be able to sit anywhere and, you know, pull out my computer or my phone and hang out and have a nice cup of coffee. I'm going to have to sit outside or take it to go. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of can hurt our business. So that's like Meg said, we're looking for a space that's a little bit bigger where we can have.
So you even want to get out of your space that you're in now.
Yeah.
Like I mean, what is your long term? Do you have a long term where you even want to have your own restaurant, maybe even in this, or do you want to go down that route?
I don't think we want to go down the restaurant road, but we definitely have a goal of having a bigger shop where we can do things like public brew classes.
That'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be
acoustic
really cool.
shows, and we can have like the main goal, like a big dream here, is to have a vintage camper trailer in a shop that has like the espresso machine and everything in it. So that's like the bar that you walk up to. And then all around that are like big teepees that you sit in.
That would be cool.
Pretty epic.
Meg's over here laughing. Is this not your dream?
No,
is
it's totally my dream.
Okay,
it's just when we say our dream out loud to other people besides us, it sounds ridiculous.
I don't think so.
I want to have a raging fire in the middle in the cold months.
No, man.
S'mores,
I mean, the thing is that's the kind of thing that people are going to remember and they're going to keep coming to.
Totally.
Yeah.
If you just have that generic cookie cutter little coffee shop, something that people don't remember, then they're going to be like, well, where was that coffee shop? I don't remember. Oh, there's one over there. Let's go there.
Exactly.
But it's like, well, let's go to the one with the teepees.
Exactly.
And the raging fire.
Dude, they got a trailer inside that building.
Yeah.
We have to go see.
That is the idea. Well, I mean, well, let's start a Kickstarter or something.
Okay.
For you guys. I don't know, but do you ever get? Okay, this might be a silly question, and do you ever get people like? I mean, you both were in a pretty, successful band. Do you get people that come in the shop and they find out you were in, Meg and Dia? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's funny.
What happens there? I mean, any funny stories that? I don't know.
Well, so there's these brothers, Cole and Chase. They've become great friends of ours.
Sure.
But they were fans of the band, and I think that's how they found out about our cart when it was at Liberty Heights Fresh. And they would come every day. They were going to Westminster, and they were playing lacrosse, and they would come hang out at the cart and just like drink coffee all day. And I don't even think they drank coffee before they found out that we were doing that. But now they drink coffee every day. Yeah, we converted
because
of us.
Yeah.
And we just like really took a liking to these guys. They're super fun, young guys, and playing lacrosse. And so we went to their lacrosse game and just like cheered them on and had a great time. And so, yeah, they're just like cool friends that we have now because of that. So
That's
really
pretty
cool.
rad.
I was just wondering how that was. You know what I mean? Like I could think about it if like I had a favorite band or a band I really was just like, they're my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I went into their coffee shop and I was like, whoa, Axl Rose, is serving coffee or
right?
something.
It's a little bit weird. I feel like I always think about it from their point of view. Is it weird that I'm sort of just working like you're
just a person
9 to 5 job serving them coffee now? Does that make me seem like lower? But I mean, not that I shouldn't be lower, but I just wonder like how it is for them. And I mean, but I'm not on a stage performing.
Yeah.
But I actually really love the interaction and like
you're just
being able to talk to them.
Yeah,
I'm just a guy
like I am.
And I want to make them awesome coffee.
Yeah.
Why do I have to like be on stage for them to appreciate what I'm doing?
Yeah.
You're a rock star barista now.
I guess so.
See? I want you to make me some coffee. I'm going to follow you home
will.
tonight. That's weird.
So you open at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
How early do you have to get up? How early does a day start as a coffee barista?
That depends on who you ask. I get up a little bit earlier than Meg.
Is it a lot of prep time in the morning for coffee?
Yeah.
No, I feel like it's not because
a
we
lot
have
of people
such
like
a small shop.
Chrissy and myself, we just go in and get a cup of coffee. We don't really think much about it, right?
Right.
But I mean, the behind the scenes. What is it like in the morning?
So for the shops that I've worked at that were much bigger shops with a lot more stuff going on, you generally get there an hour and a half or maybe just an hour before opening to get everything ready.
Sure.
Machines on and warmed up, coffee brewing, kind of just some time for you to dial some things in and to have a couple shots of espresso so that you can wake yourself up. But for us, we have such a small shop that really all we have to do is, brew a pot of coffee and taste the espresso and make sure it's good and maybe get some ice in our ice maker. So we get there like 30 minutes before opening, 45 minutes.
So
before
it's
opening.
not like I guess a donut shop or something like that
Where
they
you're
have
there
to get
at 4
up
in
at
the
like
morning.
3 or 4 in the morning,
baking everything. Yeah, we don't have to do any of that.
And doing all that behind the scenes.
Though there are bakers from scratch that bake the pastries for us to sell every day, and they're there at 3 or 4 in the morning or something. By the time we get there, it's like afternoon to
and
them.
you're like, thank you so much for getting up so
exactly.
early and making these delicious
and then they
pastries.
leave at 9 a.m. and they go home and go to bed.
Oh, wow.
They're like, good night, as everyone's coming in to get their morning cup of coffee on their way to work. It's so weird, but yeah, it's fun.
Talk about the you mentioned like some exclusive coffee beans or something you use, right? What was that? Heartland or Heart?
Just Heart, yeah.
Just Heart?
HEART. They're out of Portland.
Uh-huh.
And they're specialty.
What made you
small
decide to
batch
go that
roaster.
route?
Yeah, so in LA when I was working in coffee, so I was working for a place called the Handsome Coffee Roasters, which was so much fun. I loved that job and I love those people. And that coffee shop got bought out by Blue Bottle. And so then I worked for Blue Bottle for a little while. And then one of the owners and founders of Handsome Coffee opened another shop called Blacktop. And I helped him open that. And that shop was kind of figuring out what coffee to use. And so we were trying Heart and we were trying some San Francisco roasters. And they eventually landed on Sight Glass, which is out of San Francisco. But he, during that time, had me help him train some baristas for another shop that he was helping open that was using Heart. Uh-huh. And so I got to know Heart really intimately from working with those baristas and working with that coffee there. I already knew that I loved Heart because from our touring, we would stop at Heart in Portland and just loved it. It was like home away from home, and they were always so kind, and the beverages that they made were exceptional. So when it came time to open our own shop, because Blue Bottle had bought out Handsome, I wasn't able to use Handsome coffee because that didn't exist anymore. That would have been my first choice. And Heart was an easy second choice. So I just called them and said, hey, I'm thinking about opening my own shop. And they sent us tons of coffee to try. They helped us get all of our equipment. They even sent someone out to like hang out with us and bring us like, new tips and tools. And ideas, and it was super fun. They were so helpful, and they still are. Like, I talk to them weekly.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. So we use our coffee.
Just interested, you find out, a little bit about that.
I'm curious. So I was reading on your guys' About Us page, and you said really the reason you packed up and moved to Utah and started this is because your mom called you with an idea.
Oh,
your mom sounds like my mom. I want to hear more.
Well, so I was living in, we were both living in LA about a year ago, and we were on our way on our weekly farmers market trip, and my mom had called me just before Nick came over for us to go get our tamales. And my mom was like, she lives in St. George, and she said that there's no coffee shops in St. George, and we need to move to Utah. She's always trying to get us to move back to Utah for some reason or another.
As every mom does, right?
Yeah, so she's like, you guys need to open a coffee shop here. Nick's such a great barista. I think it would be fantastic. And I was just, hung up the phone and thought that was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And we were trying to make our music careers work. And I just, I would have never imagined in 1,000 years that I would ever open a coffee shop like a year ago. I never crossed my mind ever.
Wow.
And so then when Nick came over, I said, my mom just said that we should open a coffee shop in Utah. Like, isn't that so stupid? And he was like, yeah, that would be so ridiculous. Why would we do that? And then we kind of like ate our tacos. And then I was like, well, how would we do that if we were going to do it? How would we do that? And then he was like, well, maybe we could start off with a little cart. And then I was like, well, how would we finance it? And what would we get? And then we just kept talking about it. Kept talking
the power
about
of tacos, man.
I know.
Fuels you to create great things.
They were tamales. I'm excited.
I'm tamales.
Tamales are just as good.
Important distinction.
Are just as good.
That was the reason that we would go to the farmer's market
just
for
those
those delicious
tamales.
tamales.
But
it was really that thing.
Wait, what? Farmer's market here in Utah?
No, it was the one in
Atwater Village, actually,
okay.
which is the best farmer's market in LA, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's curious why some ideas like that catch on and some ideas just flitter off into the
What was the most obscure idea that your mom would throw at you? You said she was always throwing ideas at you.
One of them was she wanted me to start I went to a million dances in high school, and she was collecting all my dresses. Like, she started collecting all my music gear, and she just wanted to get all my crap out of her garage.
Sure.
So she's like, you should start an eBay store and sell all your prom dresses out there,
That's a great idea, though. What's so wrong with
that's probably the $1 million idea right there. That's what we should have done.
The 80s is coming back around.
I know. Yeah.
That conversation from Meg's mom, though, it led to the conversation of us asking, why wouldn't we do this? What would it mean? I think for me personally was just the scapegoat that I needed to get out of LA and get out of the kind of terrible situation that I had got myself into, trying to make ends meet, playing music, and not being.
It's a rat race down there, though, man. I mean, it's so laid back here in Salt Lake.
It is so laid back. I love it.
You probably have to, less blood pressure medicine and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right?
I'm off all my meds.
Got back to Utah. What are some other? Okay, you make coffee, you play music. Other hobbies and interests. What are other things that you enjoy, the both of you, or individually? I always like to find out a little bit more.
I like building and putting things together. So our espresso cart I built and put together, and at our shop I built and put together all of the majority of everything in there. So I like doing handy things like that. I was building rustic industrial light fixtures for a while.
Right on.
That was super fun. But it wasn't a viable business, but it was fun for me to do anyways. So yeah, I'm sort of into tinkering with cars and all that stuff, motorcycles.
And you just got your lead rock climbing.
Oh yeah, we just got way into rock climbing.
Okay, I want to get in. Chrissy, would you rock climb?
Yeah, totally.
We've talked
about rock climbing. I used to be a big rock climber.
There's a part of me that has a desire to get into rock climbing.
You look like the rock climber.
Do I look like the rock climbing type?
You have to have a beard.
You have to have a beard.
Yeah.
They're lead climbers. We should go climbing with you guys.
Yeah.
That's all you need. If you have a beard and tattoos,
start me off
you are
basic.
set.
You know what I mean? Just maybe a 2-foot wall.
Yeah. Well, so at the gym we go to the front, which is the largest rock climbing gym in the
it's Salt Lake.
nation. Yeah.
Where's that at?
It's just on 13th South and,
by
4th West.
kind of by the Walmart over there, right?
Yeah, right by the Walmart. And it's amazing. You've seen the building driving on the freeway. It's this giant black metal, weird shaped building, and it's the tallest thing as you're driving down I-15. It really sticks out, and I always wondered what that was. Well, it's the tallest rock climbing wall in the country.
Oh,
right
wow.
here. And not only does that exist here, but up every canyon is amazing rock climbs.
Okay.
That you can just go to if you know what you're doing.
Do you guys go to the outdoor rock climbing much?
We're
Like up
going
into
to
the
start
canyons?
now. That's why we got our lead climbing certification because
Yeah.
I want to go outside, but I wouldn't know how without taking the classes and learning how to clip in. And so now I bought a rope and I bought quick draws, which are the things that you clip the rope into as you climb up. And like I said, I get really into things. So this is my new thing. And I'm trying to string Meg along, but she's having a hard time. She keeps getting hurt.
It
so it's a
seems like
sport you can get injured in very
it
easily.
seems like it was a heck of a workout, right? I mean,
And I need it.
Yeah. Well, shoot, I need it.
Well, it's hard. It's not for wimps.
So, I mean,
No, not at all.
if I was to decide to go do it, do I need to have a bunch of gear?
No.
Or they already have it there?
You just come with us. We get guest passes. We'll take you.
Okay.
And
I seriously probably take you up on that.
Yeah, and
they just
have,
want to laugh at us.
We still look ridiculous.
We're new, yeah.
always
And there's
will.
so we're actually taking like the bouldering 101 class, which is just for like very new beginners. Everyone else in our class has never climbed before. We're the only ones that have been climbing for just a couple months. And this gym has bouldering walls, which are where you don't have to have a harness. You don't need to get strapped in. It's like a 25-foot wall, and you just climb to the top and then you climb back down. And that's how you learn. And it's super fun and super easy and really hard, but really gratifying. And then when you feel like taking it to the next level, then you would buy a harness and some shoes, and you would do the big wall where you tie into the rope and someone belays you so that you don't fall to your death. And that's
Always a good plan.
Yeah. So that's super fun. And then when you want to like be able to go outdoors and do your own thing, then you go get your lead certification. And that's where.
And you need that to be able to climb rocks in Utah?
Well, you could just go up the canyon
and do it.
But I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, we took this class so that we could go outside and feel confident and comfortable that we weren't going to.
That's cool.
That is cool.
We need to try that, Chrissy.
Let's do it.
We need to.
We're totally doing it right
We'd
now.
love to take you.
Yeah.
It's so fun to. And like some of the guys at Blue Copper go to the rock climbing gym. We run into them all the time.
Are you pretty friendly with the other coffee shops in here in Utah? Yeah.
Oh, we love the Blue Copper and the Rose Establishment guys.
That's
Those are, like,
interesting.
our
So
best
there's not a
friends.
lot of like negative feelings or competition between the local Salt Lake coffee
Somebody
shops?
from one of those coffee shops comes into our coffee shop probably every day.
To buy coffee?
That is
Yeah.
really
You probably
cool.
shouldn't give out his name. You don't want
No, but I go to Public in the Avenues like once a week. I go to the Rose Establishment a couple times a week.
You guys really generate a sense of camaraderie.
Yeah, Rose is great. I
Yeah.
love the Rose.
That's really cool.
So when we first thought of bringing our coffee or our approach to coffee to Salt Lake, I guess, the thing that really inspired me was the Rose Establishment, using 4-barrel coffee out of San Francisco, doing a really great job. They have weekly drink specials where they're really pushing the envelope, trying new things. And that really inspired me. That's when I realized, like, oh, Salt Lake has a coffee scene. It's just very
It really
small.
does. It really does have a coffee scene here.
Yeah.
I know we were kind of poking fun at it earlier, but it really does.
Yeah, it does.
Which
and it's
is surprising.
super fun. I mean, there's only a handful of shops, but they're all doing cool things.
Yeah.
And I go to all of them as much as possible. Since we're constantly running our own shop, we don't get as much time to go to the other shops. But, that's something that when we do have time, we always go hang out at the other shops and mingle with our comrades.
So that leads me to a question. I ask this on pretty much almost every episode is, besides coffee shops, like what are some of your other favorite local eating establishments? I always like to promote other eating places on the show.
Yeah.
Like where do you like to just, get lunch, dinner?
We have our places.
Takashi, Chanatai, the Red Iguana.
Even Stevens.
Even Stevens.
Spitz.
Yeah. Oh, Spitz.
All the breakfast places, like
the Park Rye.
The Avenues Bistro is like our new favorite spot.
The bistro is so good.
It's so
good.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like we're leaving out so many.
Copper Commons recently. Copper
Onion. Eggs in the City.
That's where I tried to take Chrissy to. She's never been to Eggs in the City. And I tried to take her up there a couple weeks ago.
It was
and it was like
an hour wait.
Yeah, and we were just so hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's common for brunch,
Right.
So eat and then go get in line for brunch.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because then you'll be ready for your next meal.
What we do for the Red Iguana is we drive our scooter over there, put our name down, and then go back to our house and watch something, and then go back and eat.
For real.
We do that every time we go there.
That's actually brilliant.
Yeah.
We live just right by the Capitol, so walking distance from where our shop is.
Okay.
And I have this little scooter that we cruise around. We drove it here.
It broke down. It's not a big deal.
It didn't break
We made
down.
it here eventually.
Just for some reason, it died.
It died.
And then it started right back up
Yeah.
and was fine.
And
Do you guys need a ride home?
No,
we got
it was just like a weird
We'll make
fluke.
it.
I thought it was out of gas.
We can
but-
follow you just in case.
Yeah. Well, the gas gauge is broken, so I was like, "Oh shit, maybe I just ran it out of gas." And then we just kind of pulled over, and I was opened the gas tank. Nope, it's half a tank. So I started it right back up, and then we continued on our way. But yeah. So we kind of like stay close
Downtown.
We just like
Yeah.
scooter around
Sure.
to wherever's close. And-
No, I always like to get recommendations, even people listening. You'd be surprised how many people don't know about all the places you just said.
Mhm.
I might be familiar, but Joe, Frank, whoever's listening right now might not be.
Yeah.
So I like to, promote local.
Totally.
And I'm always looking for new places too, but I know about all the places you mentioned.
Is there
So-
anywhere that we should try out that you would recommend?
Well, that I would recommend. Now my mind is blank. Big fan of Even Stevens. You mentioned that.
Mhm.
Lucky 13. You mentioned the Utah Foodie podcast that I was on, talking about all the brunch spots. Oh gosh, you would think now I'm put on the spot.
Yeah. Anywhere with like really good bacon.
Anyway, you brought that up.
And I gotta say, the Avenues Bistro has some of the best bacon I've ever had.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do to that, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
have you been Zest? Have you been to Zest?
Oh, we went to Zest for dinner, like right after they opened, and it seemed like they weren't quite ready, and so it was kind of like weird service. I wouldn't say bad service, but it was kind of, I don't know, a little awkward. And it just didn't feel like it was ready for us to go back.
To
It's
be
probably
there.
ready by
Yeah.
now,
Yeah,
and we
no,
should check it out.
I'm a big
again.
fan of Zest.
Okay.
I
I mean, we did that same thing when we first opened. I'm sure people.
So it's
came
like,
in
come
and were
back, come back, give us a better Yelp
yeah,
review.
exactly. Try us again. We're still
Yeah.
figuring things out.
It's kind of like when you start a first season on Netflix. You have to give it like
Yep.
5 tries first.
Yeah.
Then it's good.
Totally.
Well, let's run down the list. How can people? Do you have a website?
Yep.
People could check out.
Probably the best place to check us out is on Instagram.
Really,
We
do a lot
focus
of visual.
on that mostly.
Okay.
And that just kind of like feeds into our Facebook and our Instagram and our website.
Okay.
We haven't really updated our website. I mean, nothing's really changed. Our menu has changed a little bit. We have like some seasonal summery iced drinks now. We should probably do that. Update the menu on the website. But yeah, so the website is 3pinescoffee, all spelled out, .com. And then the Instagram is at 3pinescoffee.
With the number 3 or 3 pine?
All spelled out.
All spelled out. Okay.
But the Instagram, that is the Instagram. The Twitter is number 3 Pines Coffee.
Okay, so you're on Twitter. Excellent. I'm a big
Yep.
fan of Twitter, and so it's always nice to see businesses taking advantage of that.
Yeah. So it might disappoint you though, because we don't ever tweet anything except for our Instagram photos.
But the thing is you're there, and that's the thing is if somebody, I mean, you're a presence. So if somebody has a question or even a complaint, I mean, you have a presence, and you are there. It might,
Totally. A word about complaints.
a word about complaint.
I like them. I mean, I don't like to get them. I hope I'm not disappointing people. But the thing that I would like to say, and this goes for anyone that's just out eating or partaking in beverages or something. If you get something and you don't like it, you should say something
instead of writing it
instead
online,
of passive aggressively, and then like writing a Yelp review that is like, oh, shoot, maybe you didn't like that, but I would have given you something that you did like. Yeah. I didn't want you to have a bad experience.
I'm not a fan of Yelp.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
Yeah. It's too easy for people to.
I have my own gripes about Yelp.
Yeah. We gotta.
Wow. Yeah, it's a whole other podcast, right?
And if customers would just come talk to you, then you would know what to change and what to fix and what to alter. It would be better for everybody.
Totally.
Instead of the whole passive aggressive online stuff.
Yeah. I love to make people happy and to brighten their day. So if someone got something and they're like, hey, I'm just not really feeling this, I would happily take it back and make them something else and not charge them for it. I just want them to be stoked and to feel like they really made my day, And
that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. What's the address again? I know we talked about it at the beginning. Let's mention it again.
62 East Gallivan Avenue.
So it's kind of that hidden street, right?
Yep.
Right in Gallivan there.
Just on the south side of the Gallivan Plaza.
And Food Truck Thursday, that's a favorite of mine. So come down there on a Thursday, get food truck food and grab some coffee.
But get there early because the line for Cup Bop wraps around the block.
Isn't that the truth?
I love kebab.
Oh, man.
Oh, is it Kebab?
Cup bop. I don't know how you say it. Cup bop, or you probably said it right.
I don't know.
Said it wrong.
I've never actually eaten there, so
you've never had kebab?
I know.
Oh,
okay,
man.
The line's too long.
When you ask me what I would recommend, it would be them.
Is there something in particular that I should order?
Well, I don't do gluten.
Me either.
So they have a gluten-free.
Oh, they do. That automatically makes a business
okay.
so much better to me when they have a gluten-free option.
Well, then you definitely need to eat Zest. They're all gluten-free.
Oh,
yeah,
Zest
I know.
is all gluten-free.
That's kind of like Sages and Zest is.
Does Sages do a lot of gluten? I haven't been to Sages forever.
Yeah, they do a lot of gluten-free stuff.
Okay.
And they do Meatless Monday. I eat tons of meat, so there's.
Yeah, well,
I'm not like a vegetarian or anything, but when we feel like eating healthy, we go to Sages, and on Mondays they have 10% off.
Really? We'll have to. I haven't been to Sages forever.
We got to go there. I don't even know what it is.
I haven't been to Sages.
That's good.
I used to go to Sages a lot when they were on 300 South.
Oh yeah,
and they used to be. It used to be a dive bar, Andy's. I don't know if you remember Andy's.
No. Where the taqueria
That's
is
what
now?
Dick and Dixie's used to be.
Right.
It used to be a bar called Andy's, which was like a really bad dive bar, and they really cleaned it up, and Sages was right next to it.
Right.
And that was back in, I used to be vegan and all of that.
Oh, we went through that, and we went to the Sages when it was in that location as well, and now it's a taqueria. But yeah, Dick and Dixie's is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's down on 9th South and 3rd West or 4th
I'll have to check that out. But gluten-free gets tough.
It does.
In Salt Lake to eat at. So it's when you ask me that, I said, well, I have my favorites of places.
Well, no wonder you stick to eggs and bacon, just like me. You can't do the toast. You can't do the flour tortillas.
Well, but that's why I like Even Stevens, because they have the gluten-free bread. And
it's good bread.
Yeah.
I dig it.
But anything else you want to add? I mean, shoot, we could talk gluten-free for another hour.
Yeah, right?
Here,
gluten-free podcast.
Yeah. Well, I actually probably should do an episode on gluten-free eating in Salt Lake.
That's an awesome idea.
And maybe I'll have you back on.
Please do.
Anything else you want to add? I mean, anything you wanted that we didn't talk about? I mean, come down, try some coffee, one of your drinks there, and
yeah. Well, I hope that we're not like an intimidating kind of specialty coffee shop. I don't think we are. And I hear from the majority of people that come in that we're super approachable and friendly and nice, but I think that when most people hear specialty coffee, they automatically think it's going to be a real pretentious vibe, and they're going to have baristas that are going to be rude to them, and they're going to get laughed at because of whatever they order. But we're not like that. We want to like talk to you about coffee and get you a beverage that you will love. And,
Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. Recommendation, man.
So we do our beverages by ounce. So instead of saying a latte, we do a 12-ounce espresso and milk, because that's what a latte is. Mm-hmm. I don't speak Italian. So instead of a macchiato, we do a 4-ounce espresso and milk, which is kind of not really a traditional macchiato. So anyways, my favorite is our 8-ounce espresso and milk. And all of those beverages are a double shot of espresso and then varying amounts of steamed milk. And I just think that one is a killer ratio. Like you get a lot of strong coffee flavor in there, but the sweet creaminess from the milk, and it's just like perfect.
Sure.
We're going to have to come try that. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, my favorite is our iced 12-ounce with almond milk, and we make our almond milk in-house. So I make it every morning. We get
okay, we didn't get into that.
fresh almonds.
How did we not talk about this?
We soak with filtered water, and then I blend it with a little bit of real maple syrup, and it's delicious.
No
it's
way.
not like the stuff you get at coffee shops that's like from a box. It's really good.
Yeah, it's not like the
amazing.
store-bought stuff at all. It's,
yeah, and it's good.
very
It's
fresh.
good steamed, but I think with whole milk, it's better with the hot beverages. But when you get
a cold beverage.
an almond milk with a cold espresso over ice, it's my
Almond
favorite.
milk is really refreshing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really.
I've never had
really
homemade
good.
almond milk,
Yeah.
so I'm totally coming in.
Yeah,
so good.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
When we put
It's
it in
great.
hot beverages, it doesn't steam up as nicely as whole milk does. Like you can't really pour latte art with it, and it's kind of like foamy and bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
But iced, we do it in like a shaker and shake it like a cocktail, and it gets this really beautiful foam on it, and it's just so creamy and
Cool.
yeah.
Oh man, you
We
guys
love
sold
it.
me.
So yeah,
Well, we'll be there.
please
Maybe
come
tomorrow
by.
morning, right, Chrissy?
Yeah,
Well, maybe not.
we'll see. At least tomorrow night.
We'll be there.
Well, cool. Well, we'll end. I thank you so much.
thank you.
I mean, that seems like as good of any place to end it, and
Cool.
so thank you so much. Thank you, Chrissy, for, like I said,
Thanks,
first
Chrissy.
podcast interview she said in. I think so,
Trying it.
right?
Yeah, first
Yeah,
one.
Absolutely.
How'd it
Thank you.
feel? Let's
did
interview
it
you
feel?
now, post interview.
I
Did you learn something?
I want to talk too much, so
Yeah. No, you were perfect.
I'm holding all of my thoughts in my head instead of talking because I would take over the whole conversation.
I like that. I saw you over there, like holding your hand up, like I have something to add.
Sorry.
I was like,
But then,
sorry.
you chimed in. You
Yeah.
asked the question about Meg's mom.
Yeah.
we'll see. And I am so curious about Meg. Your story is so fascinating to me.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
Do you also play music?
I do not.
Oh.
I used to sing, but
Oh.
no music really. I just think other people are interesting.
Did you grow up in Salt Lake?
No,
Oh, okay.
Wisconsin. We can cut all this out.
No, I'm not. We're leaving this in.
Yeah.
We're leaving this
I
in.
always
We're
vowed I would
interviewing you
never
now.
live in Utah, actually. I was very anti-Utah.
Really?
Yeah.
Are
But now
you
I live here and I
anti-Utah
love
now?
it.
Oh, okay.
No, it's great.
No,
Salt Lake.
I've drug her downtown, and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and she's living downtown now with me. And
He's
Okay.
converted
so-
me.
Downtown is a cool vibe. It's like
Oh my
so
gosh.
much more liberal than the rest of the state. We lived in Austin, Texas, and it's like that's kind of the same thing. What is Austin doing in Texas? It doesn't belong there at all. Salt Lake feels like that in Utah to me. Like the rest of Utah, whoa. But Salt Lake is really fun.
Yeah.
Just stay in the circle.
the avenues. I mean, you know, the avenues have a pretty cool vibe.
Yeah,
I-
we love
I
the
think,
avenues.
You know, but,
Yeah. All of downtown is
It is
and
really
there's
cool.
cool stuff
There's so
happening.
much to do that you wouldn't know about unless you were really always there finding out what's going on from other people you know. It's
totally.
like really underground, but it's really neat.
Yeah,
It's been fun.
I love that it's so communal like that. You have to find
Yeah.
out from other people that are like, oh, have you checked out this new place, or have you been to this thing, or I'm going to this
I
show
know.
or this
feels
party.
like you have to like walk around in black just listening to people's conversations to find out where to go. Like what the cool places
That's
are.
what the great thing about working at a coffee shop. Everyone that comes in, you're like, what are you doing this weekend? Oh man, I got all this stuff going on. There's the show happening at the stateroom, and we're just like, cool, yeah, okay. Now we have a list of things to
That's
do.
awesome.
So yeah,
Oh man.
Well, cool. I mean, since we're still recording here, what are you looking forward to in the summer? You got anything you're looking forward to?
I'm looking
going on?
forward to this music festival this weekend. That'll be super
Yeah.
fun. This last weekend was so busy. A friend of ours was playing at the stateroom, Dan Fletcher, and we didn't get to go because my mom was doing a bodybuilding competition. My mom's a
What?
competitive bodybuilder.
What?
Which is so funny. And I took Meg to the show. She's never been to one before, and they're kind of really awkward.
That's so cool though. I mean, wow.
Yeah. So
Good for your
my
mom.
mom turned 50 3 years ago and just like wanted to get in shape and needed to be motivated, and was like, if I sign up for this competition, I'll have no choice but to get training and like.
So now she's ripped.
Now she's ripped. She's not like the muscles on top of muscles on like gross, but she's in the, I forget what class it is.
The bikini class?
Figure, not the bikini class. The class above that.
Oh, okay.
Where they actually do like specific kind of like poses. Like the bikini class, they just kind of come out and like show off their stuff kind of in a way. That's the part that feels a little bit awkward to me because it's almost like watching a stripper, but not quite.
Yeah, how's that watching
feels
your
a little degrading.
mom?
But my mom's in a class that I like. That's like all about, you know, certain muscle groups and the certain poses, like show off certain muscle groups. And yeah, she's in like a, you know, like a skimpy thing, but it's not like in a sexy way like the bikini classes.
It's more about the effort and the work she put in.
You like
That's
really
cool.
appreciate it when you see it that way. Like, wow. But the bikini class is just sort of like, oh.
I'm uncomfortable now.
Yeah. Should I throw money on stage? Because some of them, like some of the bikini class girls really take it too far.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that was happening this weekend. And so that was fun.
This coffee interview went
changed, didn't it? This went
no, I love it though. This is what I love about podcasts though. You know what I mean? Is you never know what you might get into.
Totally. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything coming up that we know about.
You know, I mean, you always, you know, like you said, nobody knows things going on, and
we find out at the last minute or like a day before.
And that's why, you know, that's kind of why I even started the podcast, man, is to network everybody together. And that way people listening right now can, you know, like your Facebook page and keep up with I'm assuming you have a Facebook page. Yeah. I know.
It's facebook.com/3 Pines Coffee.
Yeah. And then if we're just all interconnected, come down and get coffee, get to know you both of you a little bit better. And then maybe listen to the next episode of the podcast, find out about that. And then we're all just one big family.
Yeah.
Small Lake City, like they
exactly.
say, right? So
Small Lake City, I like it.
Well, cool. I don't know. Anything else? I'm just trying
Where
to
else
end
can
this.
we take this
I'm
thing?
just trying to end this thing podcast here. So.
How awkward can we get?
Yeah.
We can do a pretty good job.
Thank you again.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. What a great conversation. Meg Frampton and Nicholas Price. Head on down to 3 Pines Coffee. Again, their address is 62 East Gallivan Avenue, right in downtown Salt Lake City. Check them out. Let them know that you heard them on I Am Salt Lake, and they'll probably give you a hug or something. I don't know. I'm serious.
Or at least a high five.
Yeah, at least a high five. All the notes are going to be at iamsaltlake.com/232 for episode 232. And check it out and connect with 3 Pines Coffee. I know Chrissy and myself, we want to talk about, we have an idea to do some meetups.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, this was just something I've been tossing around. I threw it out to Chrissy. I'm like, you know, I've done I Am Salt Lake Lives. I do live shows. I do the Connect live shows. But I just want a way for listeners to get together, meet up, maybe have brunch, maybe
just get to know each other.
Get together for a beer. So maybe I would like it if any listeners are listening right now that might be interested. Maybe shoot Chrissy or myself a message.
Yeah, just let us know because we would like to start planning something. If you would prefer brunch, if you'd prefer some drinks after work, let's find out, and we can all go out and just get to know each other, spend some time.
Tell us what you would like to do, or maybe we'll mix it up and
or we'll just tell you what we're doing.
Do a little bit of everything. Let us know if you're interested. You can email or tweet us. It doesn't really matter. Hey, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're doing a GoFundMe, and I know a lot of you are probably sick of hearing me talk about this, but this is really the only way that this podcast is going to move forward. If you go to iamsaltlake.com, there's a banner up top that will click you through to the GoFundMe campaign. You'll find out more about it. We're raising money for equipment, for some new supplies. This was actually an idea of Chrissy's. So
I'm kind of a pushy girlfriend.
You can kind of blame her for that, for doing that. But really for the last 4 years, I've been reaching into my pocket and kind of funding it and keeping it going. And I've kind of been going broke doing it.
Yeah. The equipment gets expensive, and then all the time and travel, it takes a toll on it.
It really does. So I want to give a quick shout out to some folks that did donate to it. Like I said, we have different tiers of donators. But I want to give a shout out to Kirk Sample, Michael Beck, Steve Kinslow, Jenny Shirley, Michael Christensen, and Daniel Cochran. Thank you so much. You guys are all awesome. I realize, some people's funds are a little tight, so I'm not going to be upset if you can't.
Right.
Maybe
share an episode.
Maybe, share an episode like Chrissy said on Facebook or Twitter, or tell your neighbor, knock on their door.
There's so many ways to support the podcast.
There really is. And if you can't think of a way, reach out to us and let us know. IamSaltLake.com is the website. We have a voicemail, 385-202-5926. Make sure to give us a call and
leave us a message.
Let us know what you think of the show. But that's going to do it. We're here every week. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss an episode, and we'll catch you again next week. Bye now.